See, life's not fair, right? As you guys could see, it is snowing outside, right? This is the middle of the fall. We're in November. We should not be having snow like this. But you know what else was not fair? Maverick fans having to put up this with this season so far. As you guys can tell, the Dallas Mavericks suck. And I will be honest, I was one of those people who thought it was going to be a playoff team. Based on what they're doing right now, it's looking really concerning, right? For a team that's supposed to have like a year to about 3 years of a window to push for a title, it's not working to start the first year, right? Obviously, going into the season, Kyrie Irving was out due to an ACL tear, right? You just got Cooper Flag, who's going to be like the, I guess, Luka Doncic replacement because leading up to the season, Nico Harrison decided to take Luka Doncic out of Dallas and put him in LA for Anthony Davis, who, don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis is a great player, one of the greatest big men of our generation, right? One of the greatest defensive bigs of all time. But he's not Luka Doncic, especially with the team that was literally built around Luka Doncic's strengths and was able to mask his weaknesses with defensive wings, a really good big to get the points off of Luka's passing and playmaking, one of the best passing playmakers of all time, even this generation. You had Kyrie Irving as a co-star, right? This team was poised to be a potential threat for years and years to come in the West. And also, Luka Doncic being the successor to Dirk after, Dirk was retiring, Luka came in as the guy. I mean, it made the most sense for a storyline for Dallas to basically move into a new direction just like this. Well, here we are now. They're not in the playoffs right now. I believe they're like the 13th, 14th seed. They're now 3-7. Their 3 wins came at the hands of the Raptors, who unfortunately are the best team they actually beat. The Pacers, they beat the Pacers, I believe. Which, I mean, the Pacers only won one game. That was off the Warriors. I'm not too sure if they won the second game yet. And I forgot the other team. It could have been Washington. It could have been another team. But it was not a good team. Right? 3 of their wins are not great. And it gets worse, guys. Because Anthony Davis is injured. Your whole purpose of trading for AD was to get a defensive player to play alongside this entire team. And also, Anthony Davis having a bunch of centers, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, it was going to help. Because, Anthony Davis always said he wants a power forward. He wants to be the power forward, sorry. And then you have centers right now. You have actual centers. You can actually play the 4 and roam around, protect the paint when needed. And you're not on the court to start the season. And also, keep in mind, we're in the Western Conference. We're talking about this, right? The Thunder were always going to be the number 1 seed. They are the first seed right now. I think they're 10-1. The Spurs, we knew they were going to be up there. The Rockets are going to get there. The Nuggets are going to get there. Surprisingly, the Suns are doing better to start the season. I'm honestly surprised, right? Portland, I'm not too surprised, okay? I said it, even my prediction for the Western Conference video, I think this team could either be barely out of the play-in or a surprise team of the year in the playoffs. And so far, I'm pretty sure in the playoff race. As of right, obviously, it's 10 games, 11 games in. We're in the West. Expectations are high, and the requirements are high. And, the fact that Dallas is struggling to start the season off, it's really sad and really concerning. All right, one of the biggest problems they also have to deal with was their playmaking. Losing Luka Doncic was a huge loss for all the players who benefited off of his playmaking. Because you have D'Angelo Russell. And D'Angelo Russell's not a playmaker like Luka Doncic. Right, we are in year 10, I believe, year 11 for him. Right, which is kind of crazy to think, man. Like, before the decade ended, he was an all-star. Y'all remember that? Remember that 2019 Brooklyn Nets run they had, and everyone was dancing on the bench, and they were winning games, right? And they had even 2 max slots. Remember Kyrie Irving? 2 max slots. They had it. They had it all. And then they lost all that. They traded D'Lo for Kevin Durant. They had a pretty good bench. I do feel like they should have never traded for Harden. They were good without him. But alas. Wow. Right. But D'Lo's not a great playmaker compared to Luka or just even other playmakers. I don't think anybody, if I'm not mistaken, is averaging 5 assists on the team right now. Nobody. Right? There's no way that you have no playmaking powers. You don't have anybody. Russell Westbrook could have been an option, I guess. But then, it's Russell Westbrook. You have to live with the good and bad. And because he's going to be a key rotation player, you want him in the game for the sake of being able to hit all those shots and play make, but he's also not the greatest decision maker as he commits a lot of turnovers, right? I don't know. Dallas, what's going on, man? I hope Dallas Mavericks fans are doing well, man. I feel bad because it's like like we all remember where we were when Luka Doncic got traded, right? For me, it was I was on my phone at night, and I remember a live stream popped up, a notification live stream popped up, and it was Luka Doncic and the Lakers jersey. I was confused, and it was the news, and I went to Twitter, and when I refreshed and it said Luka Doncic got traded, I was in shock. I was in shock because what do you mean he got traded? Franchise player, top 5 player in the league, top 3 player in the league. You're telling me he got traded? No way, he got to be hacked. And lo and behold, we're living in reality. Luka Doncic is a Laker. 50 years ago, it was Kareem. 50 years later, it's Luka. Let that sink in. I thought it was going to be Giannis. I thought Giannis would be the next guy in line. I mean, they both were in Milwaukee, Kareem and Giannis. When Kareem, after 1974, around 1970 or 1975, he got traded to the Lakers. I thought Giannis would be that 50 years later, right? They even won a championship with the last number digit being 1971 for Kareem, 2021 for Giannis. I thought it was there. I was wrong. And speaking of that, I will get onto a video about the trades that are happening, right? Because we got a lot of conversations about certain players wanting to get traded, right? But that's a whole different topic for another day, right? And then you have Cooper Flag, which I will say having him with a lot of experienced players does help. Oh yeah, all the other players too, like Derek Lively. I mean, I'm not too surprised that he didn't progress because like we all knew that a lot of the reason to why he looked good was because of Luka. Like majority of the time, if you watch him play, it was either him catching a lob or just getting any sort of points off of Luka passing him the ball, or somebody passing, but predominantly Luka. Like he was benefiting off of Luka, and assuming that you're not playing with Luka anymore, you would assume that okay, I didn't say it right, but assuming since you're playing without Luka now, you would assume that he'd be a much better shot creator, right? Maybe be able to create offense on his own without trying to have Luka on his side and rely on all the other players, but it seems like he needs a playmaker. And even with Anthony Davis too, like I do feel like Anthony Davis can definitely lift the team to a playoff spot, but I don't think he's good enough to make them go all the way. I think he needs like a playmaker like LeBron, right? When he was with LeBron, it was beautiful, right? Especially that first year, because he gets to play with one of the better playmakers in the game in LeBron, high IQ players, all that, and we saw how good he was able to play. He was still able to take it to that level, right? He was also a runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA caliber player, top 5 player at that time. Even through progressing through, unfortunately, due to injuries, it did slow down. Granted, they did have to have a shortened season and start late in the offseason. But, it was working, right? I do think Anthony Davis needs a really good playmaker. And, unfortunately, they don't have that. And then Cooper Flag, unless Cooper Flag takes the Luka role, which is a huge jump, like, off the bat, which, I mean, he's a rookie. I don't expect him to. I mean, it would probably take him around, like, the 6th or 7th year, maybe 8th, to do that. The only way this is going to work is if he does that. It basically has a year 6, 7, or 8 leap right now, starting now. And that's not easy. And you also have to consider Kyrie Irving coming back. Kyrie Irving has an ACL tear, and we don't even know what Kyrie is going to look like. He's not even a good playmaker. Like, yes, he can dribble the ball and all that, but he's not like a Luka Doncic playmaker, passer and playmaker, right? Like, he's not that guy. Even if they have him and D'Lo on the same floor, that's a liability. D'Lo's not great offensively. Same thing with Kyrie Irving, especially with and then you have Klay Thompson, who, oh my goodness, that's another player I feel bad for. You left the Warriors. You thought you were getting Luka to play with, right? You're going to have another great teammate. And then you find out he gets traded. And now you just have to basically play the way you have. And it's looking really bad for him, man. I really do feel. I know he did have severe injuries, and also he's regressing because he's much older. But it's like, this is not how I want him to go out, man. I don't want him to go out like that. He was like, listen, my all-time favorite player is Steph Curry. I'm not a Warrior fan. Let me be very, 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 very clear. I don't want to see Klay look like that, man. Like, someone go trade him to like another contending team, maybe to the Lakers, so he could actually play with Luka, or come back to the Warriors. I don't know, or the Spurs. I don't know. But I don't know, man. Like, this, again, it's 10 games of the season. Things could change, but at the same time, it's like when you're at 3-7 and your biggest win is against the Raptors. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I thought the first game was like, hey, we're playing Wemby. He dismantled you guys, right? He was playing out of his mind. He's back now. I know he had a pretty bad game against Phoenix, which, I mean, I think they got a game plan to stop him now. But, we all thought Wemby was just so good, and that's why you guys lost. But no, you guys couldn't win, right? The teams behind you are just straight garbage, and that's the only teams you've been able to beat, right? Again, your biggest win was against the Raptors. And they're a team that's trying to make the play-in, or at least projected to go to the play-in. I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't know. But unless they decide to switch things up, because I don't think B.I., Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and all that, they're not good enough to make it there. But, man, I don't know, man. Dallas looks... And also, I heard that Nico Harrison might get fired soon, because if I'm not mistaken, the 24-year streak of the Dallas Mavericks selling out their stadium is done. They broke the streak. And Luka Doncic was their guy. You don't have anybody anymore. So now you're back to losing. If I'm not mistaken, Mark Cuban's not there. And now you guys just lost. Now it's like, I don't know. And then again, like, you have to deal with having all this, right? This has to be one of the saddest runs for Dallas Mavericks fans, man. Like, I hope they can come back from this, because I did not want to see this happen. I don't think anyone expected this, right? This is we've seen Tyrese Haliburton get traded for nothing. No disrespect to Sabonis, you weren't doing anything. I don't care you made the playoffs in 2023, you were not doing anything. But the fact that this happened, and now they're going to this dark route, we're starting to see the beginning of the end of Dallas Mavericks basketball, as we know. Meanwhile, all the other teams are just... Even with the Lakers, like, the Lakers don't have LeBron, and they're still winning games. Let that sink in, guys. LeBron is not there. AR and Luka have been carrying this team. AR's had big games. Luka has had big games. This trade is aging really bad. And honestly, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks that the Lakers probably are going to win this trade, but it's not going to be added with a championship. And it's just more of just Luka getting his career sabotaged by Dallas. Because you look at Shea, he has a championship, MVP, all that. He has everything Luka was supposed to have. They both should have had it, but it's just Shea right now. We don't know again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do win a championship, but... Man, it's a dark day to be a Dallas fan. I mean, you guys have a bunch of other Texas teams. Why don't you go for them? Spurs, the Rockets. I don't know. You don't have to be there at Dallas. Just go to the other teams. But yeah, that's my little rant on Dallas, man. Hopefully you guys are doing okay. Right? Life's not fair. Right? Just like the snow here. But yeah, leave a like if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Alright? And I'll see you guys whenever. Alright?